Travel baseball, everybody's doing it, right? Well, should you be doing it? Is it a big money grab? What should your minimum expectations be for your travel ball experience? Well, it's all coming up in today's video.
And now, the most trusted name in all of youth sports, here's Coach Mark.
Hey, it's Coach Mark here. Happy to be here with you today. Thanks for listening in. Hey, travel baseball. A lot of people are playing travel baseball, and I think it would help you if you understood how it all started for me. And then when I share a lot of this information with you today, it's going to make a lot more sense. So let me rewind. My son's 12 years old. He looks at me and he says, "Dad, I want to play in the SEC." Well, I'm from Central Pennsylvania. I'm looking at my son thinking, I don't think there are many kids going to get out of Central Pennsylvania, to the SEC. They're just not coming here to look for talent. So we decided to put a plan together, and that plan included travel baseball. It wasn't the only thing. I mean, his individual development was a huge part of the plan as well. But we knew we needed to get out of the area and start playing against better competition and a better schedule overall, because playing local and beating up on local kids and local teams wasn't going to get it. So that's how I got into travel baseball. So in today's video, I want to give you some prerequisites. I want to give you some things that should be your absolute minimums. Now, there's a lot more to travel baseball than what I'm going to cover in today's video, but at the very least, I'm going to give you 5 things that you should minimally expect from your travel program. So let's get started with number 1. Wait a second. I gotta ask you, have you subscribed to the channel? It helps us a lot, so please subscribe, hit the notifications. We're pumping out a lot of new videos, and let's see some comments. I would like to have a relationship with you. If you put some comments in there, I'm responding to them. So let's have some engagement, all right? Okay, number 1, and not surprisingly, your first expectation, minimum expectation, is to have a knowledgeable coach coaching your team. Now, obviously, if we're talking about 6-year-olds and 7-year-olds, is baseball knowledge super important? Probably not. But I would say by the time you're 9, 10, 11, you really need somebody who understands the game. Now, this is assuming that you're not doing this for a hobby. You really want to learn the game. Your son has aspirations to play at a high level. I think you need to learn to play the game the right way. Now, that is a giant subject. I could do a whole video on that. But when I'm talking about baseball knowledge, I'm talking about a coach that has his team doing things that are very similar to the higher levels. Now, let me give you an example of the opposite of that. I went to a local game here not too long ago, and I noticed that the third baseman was holding a runner like a first baseman. And also the shortstop was holding a runner like a first baseman. So picture that. And the coach, by the way, was encouraging that. He was telling him, you got to get over there and hold that runner. Well, I can tell you right now, you don't see that at any level of baseball of any substance, okay? There's no third baseman holding a runner. There's no shortstop standing on the base like a first baseman, okay? So the first thing I thought was, those kids are learning completely the wrong thing about how to play the game. If I was your coach to play checkers and I was telling you to move in a way that wasn't even part of the game, I mean, would I be doing you any favors by teaching you the game of checkers when it's not even how the game is played? And I'm not here to bash young coaches. I'm just saying I don't think it's a good idea for you to be coached by anybody that doesn't understand the game at a pretty high level. So that would be number 1. Make sure in travel baseball that your coach is a knowledgeable coach. Number 2, and closely related to number 1, is your coach a person of character? Is your coach a great role model for young athletes? No offense to the younger generation, but I see a lot of young kids coaching travel teams, and they're kids themselves, okay? I doubt they can teach too many life lessons because they haven't had them yet, okay? And again, I'm not bashing young kids. They're probably great kids and have a good knowledge of the game, probably. Some of them played at a high level. But if they're young, do I think of those kind of kids as being great role models for these young, impressionable kids? I don't. So I would tell you, pay close attention to who is leading your son. Here's another way of asking the question. Are they supporting the same values that you're teaching in your home? I'll give you an example. When I was running a national program, we had some very, very strict disciplines built into the program. We had a no profanity policy. We don't use profanity in our family, okay? We had a punctuality policy. We needed to be on time. We had a communications policy. We had a dress code. These were all things that were very similar to the culture that I have in my own family. I get a little nervous when families are putting their kids into an environment where a coach is running the team and the values are radically different. Now, I do know you need to learn to play for different types of personalities. But if you're the kind of person, and maybe you're a person of faith, and you got this guy coaching the team that maybe has no faith at all, he's dropping F-bombs, he's kicking buckets, he's telling sleazy jokes, you get the point. I'm just saying that's not a good matchup, okay? So if you're a person of character, which I bet you are, then find a coach that is a person of character and let them influence your son as well. Hey, sorry for interrupting the video. We'll get right back to it, but I wanted to ask you a question. Have you found the perfect travel baseball program? If the answer is yes, then you need to stay right where you are because it's so hard to find a great program. If by any chance you have not, then I want you to check out D1D. Now, you may know this, but I've been in travel baseball for over 20 years, and I just started this program, so I haven't had a chance to really set it up the right way. So check us out at d1dnational.com. Number 3 is something that a lot of people have a hard time grasping. Competitive schedule. Make sure that your son is playing in a competitive schedule or a competitive team. Here's what I mean by that. If your coach went around and picked up the studs of studs, and you can go to all the local tournaments and win every single trophy and outscore your opponents 82-3, then you're playing the wrong schedule, okay? Baseball is a game that you win and you lose. Not like football. You see teams go 12-0 in high school or 14-0 in college. You don't see any college baseball teams going, 48-2. The reason is because there's a lot of competition. If you look at the SEC standings, if you're playing 500 baseball, you're doing pretty good. Why is that important? Well, if you're a kid coming up through travel baseball and all you ever do is win, I promise you, you're going to have a hard time losing. You're going to have a hard time dominating or getting dominated because you never experienced that. So again, when I'm running the travel program or I'm coaching teams, we are getting challenged. I don't care if we lose. As a mom and dad, I need you to take the focus off winning and losing so much. Not the effort to win. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the end result of a game being so important. In baseball, you win and you lose. Imagine playing in the big leagues. I mean, there are teams in the big leagues that lose over half their games. They lose 75% of their games. Now, granted, yeah, they're getting paid a lot of money to play the game, but I promise you, they have to deal with that, okay? It's not fun, but you have to deal with it. So just make sure that your travel team is playing a very competitive schedule. Number 4, I'm just going to throw it out there. I think there's a lot of expensive baseball being played. Okay, and what I mean by that is there are people paying thousands of dollars to play travel baseball, and a lot of them are getting what I've already talked about. They maybe don't have a knowledgeable coach. They might not have a man of character leading the team. Their schedule's not that great, and they're still playing thousands of dollars. That doesn't make any sense to me. So if you're going to pay big money to play travel baseball, you should be getting all of this value and a lot more. So just make sure that the value is there. Just because it's the going rate in travel baseball to pay $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, you better make sure you're getting the value, because there's other places that you can play with tremendous value for far less money than that. And number 5, and I've already touched on it before, I want to talk about disciplines. I want to talk about policies. If your travel program or your team is not being run with some organization, with some policies, you're missing out. You're missing out on some of the greatest benefit of playing travel baseball, which is the discipline part of this. I personally see a lot of lack of discipline in travel baseball. I'll give you an example. When we're taking BP and I tell the team we're going to start hitting at 8 o'clock, I need you there at 7:45 in uniform, ready to go. That's what I expect. Okay, I don't expect to see kids straggling in, putting on their uniform, halfway on, half the team's there, half the team's not there, got their headphones on, half asleep at 7:45. Not the expectations that I have for my team. But I look at the cage next to us, and that's exactly what I see. I see kids over there throwing BP to other kids, no helmets. Coach isn't there yet. He's showing up late. You get the picture? Okay, no discipline. Okay, no structure. The way people act. You know, if you're in a program that lets parents act like crazy people, you know, jumping up on the fence, yelling at the umpires, going down and talking to the coaches, yelling at players, getting in arguments after the game, if you're in a program like that, which is kind of rampant in travel baseball, you're in the wrong program. There's other programs that there are people that run them the right way. Now, I'm not saying they're easy to find. I'm just saying they're out there. Okay. You know, what comes out of your mouth, how you handle emotions, you know, letting kids, you know, the inmates run the prison, that kind of thing. You see teams where kids are just acting crazy, okay? And I hope you're not in a program like that, but if you are, get out, you know, get out of it. I used to tell our parents all the time, we have all these disciplines, we have all these structures built in, so you can come here like as a refuge, as a sanctuary from the madness out there. Now, here's the caveat though. You have to have somebody willing to hold the line. You have to have somebody willing to say the buck stops here. And I will tell you that a lot of travel coaches don't want to do it. Number 1, it's a lot harder. Number 2, they just want to avoid conflict. And number 3, a lot of them are afraid of losing the money. If you tell parents, hey, if your son's late, he's not playing, and he shows up late, and now you're going to have to hold that standard, they go, hey, we're out of here. We quit. We want our money back. I've had it happen to me. I said, you came here for the standards, but now when the standards apply to you, you're mad? You want to quit? This is why you came. Okay, so you have to have somebody in the organization, or lots of people in the organization, willing to hold those standards. One of the beautiful things about what the program that I was running is we had such a strong culture of discipline and standards and class that everybody was buying into it. And if somebody was out of line, they were the minority. They weren't the majority, they were the minority. And those people didn't last long. And I always told our families, if somebody like that tries to come in the program, they're not going to last long, because I promised you, you weren't going to be around people like that, okay? See, I'm trying to give you a little understanding of what is out there, because I will tell you, when I'm running a program and people are coming out of other programs, I'm hearing crazy stuff, more than even what I'm explaining in this video. So I just hope, if anything else, I wanted to raise your expectations for what you should expect in travel baseball. If you're getting less than what I'm describing here today, I strongly encourage you to look for another program because you deserve it. There's a lot of hard-earned money being spent. You deserve more than the status quo. So I hope this video helped you today, and until next time, God bless.